Hey guys, today I am filming my winter garden tour. I do one of these towards the end of each season and I try to follow a similar route. So coming along here, just ignore Noah's basketball hoop. We have to drop it down because the wind gets pretty intense and we'll blow it over. The Daphnes are in full bloom. They smell divine and they're so pretty. I've talked about taking these Daphne bushes out. I've actually changed my mind. I'm going to leave them where they are because I wanted to extend that bed. There is like a concrete mowing strip there, but I'm going to leave that and just plant in front of it. So I'll leave the Daphnes. My osteospermum is taking over. It's amazing. It's spreading really well. Hydrangeas looking bare. Some weeds going on in here. Hi. Bare hydrangeas, nothing is blooming. I really need to prune back the buddleia. Looks completely dead. I'm hoping that will come back. This bit at the end, the pile of rocks, is now covered in weeds, but that's actually a good thing because that is where I'm going to create the berm, and the weeds we'll probably spray them. We try not to use spray in the garden, at least not near the vegetables, but I think I'll probably spray them, let them die down, put soil and compost on top, and then plant that up to create kind of like a little raised bit there. Another Daphne bush, full bloom. Still haven't pruned the roses. Full of weeds. I have kind of pulled the weeds away from my little miniature roses, but they're coming back. Haven't really had chance to get out here because it's been so rainy. Okay, coming across to this little shade bed. Haven't really given that much attention. These are doing really well. This was like a strange lily thing that I found in the garden. I can't remember what it's called, but these are the flowers. They're quite bizarre. The stock has just been flowering and going crazy all winter, spilling out onto the driveway, but I'm really pleased with those. Probably put some more in. There's the impatiens, sleep for the winter. Forget-me-nots, they've kind of taken a battering, hoping they'll come back. My Brunera Silver Frost died back, but there's some greenery going on there. Yeah. Okay, this bed, that is the little dwarf hydrangea. I'm hoping that will survive. The pansies are spreading but not flowering. Purple passion is spread, pyrethrum is spread, the jess is spread. Can't remember what that is, campanula I think. That's doing well, and I think that's a hollyhocks. Coming across here, we are having some screens installed there, so I'm going to be putting some big pots in the dead corner and growing some tall things there. I want to grow something that's kind of lime greenish like this color to pop against the black screens. Nothing much growing here. Some alyssum, hydrangea starting to bud. This oregano needs to come out, but yeah, looking pretty bare. Now that I've actually seen my garden through the winter, I know what's evergreen and what isn't, because I've planted perennials, but of course many of them just die off in the winter and then come back the next year. So I'm going to be putting some shrubs in, probably escallonia and pieris, because I'm obsessed with those. They look good all year round. So not much going on here. I think that is calendula that's self-seeded, or poppies. Could go either way. Got some bulbs coming up, which is very exciting because I put all of these bulbs in. Put a whole clump there. I can't remember what that's called. Nothing happening with the lavender. This is the escallonia. It's an apple blossom bush and it is blossoming. It started a month ago, I think, and it's looking so beautiful and full, and this is evergreen and I want to put more of these in for sure. I've cut back all of the carnations or dianthus. That is a hollyhocks. I think those are poppies. And here's the pieris. Again, I want to put more of these in because they look good all year round, and they're currently doing these little reddish fronds with little white flowers that are going to open, and the new growth of the leaves is red, so it's always looking interesting. I want to put more of those in. So that's that. Greenhouse still does not have doors. I really need to get onto that because I need to start my spring planting. A second pair of boots has joined the first, and I've put tulip bulbs in those, so that will hopefully look good in the spring. Nothing much going on. This bed, all of the coleus has died off. They did say that it's an annual, and turns out they're right. This is Aquilegia, I think. These. Succulents are doing well. And these are asters. They've been blooming pretty well. Some of them have died off, but some of them are still blooming away. So that's nice. Vegetable garden's looking a little bare, and what's not bare is weeds. So I have a bed full of multicolored carrots, which are doing really well. I've got all different, I've got yellow and white, and there's a white one. They're doing really well, the white ones. Yellow, white, purple, orange. This bed I did kind of dig over and weed and sowed onions, and they're just coming up, but I don't know how long they're going to take. I guess I'll just leave those. I have been working on the greenhouse floor. It's not quite finished, but we're getting there. The courtyard garden, I have some self-seeded calendula that's doing pretty well there. And there are forget-me-not clumps everywhere and pansy clumps, but no flowers. I pruned back the penstemon, that is a foxglove. So not much going on there, and again I want to put some shrubs into there for year-round interest. All of the other beds are empty except for this one, in which we have some broccoli growing. Looks like it's not actually forming a head. I don't know if this is sprouting broccoli, but it looks like that's what it's doing, so maybe I should be picking that. I can't remember actually what I planted. Loads of weeds, half pruned marguerite daisy bush. It started raining, so I need to finish pruning that. That one I'll probably just leave. In here we have some golden beetroot and weeds. Nothing in that one. These are chives. They're coming back. I cut them back, but they seem to be doing all right. And in here, these are leeks. So, I mean, they're pretty small. I know you can eat baby leeks, so I'll just leave them, see how they go. I think I've got some beetroot in there as well. Nothing much going on here, nothing in this bed. In the berry cage, I've got a couple of beetroot here. Still weeds. I never actually finished weeding this, but we have the blueberry bushes which never seem to grow. And then here I did plant, I think, swede and I don't know what, but it's not growing. Got some pea plants coming up the back there, just here and there. And then in here I think I have radishes, so I do have some coming up. But otherwise it's empty and the weeds are starting to come back, which kind of gives me hope that spring's around the corner, but at the same time annoying. So yeah, these just, well, I say these blueberry bushes don't seem to grow, but I'm seeing some new growth out there. I don't know if I'm supposed to be pruning these, but they don't seem overly happy. I might give them some hectic fertilizer this spring. We're moving along to this little shade bed. Again, the stock is still blooming and has been all the way through winter. Same with the alyssum there. This fern is getting quite big, and I did notice when I came out before that it was making baby ferns on the tips of its leaves, which is pretty exciting. I probably learnt that in biology, but I did forget that that is how ferns reproduce. So I'm going to plant those out. That's quite good. Geranium's doing well, but not blooming. Hydrangea, they were blooming like in the winter. I have some plants here that I haven't even planted out yet. They've been there for actually ages. They seem quite happy. I guess they sheltered in the box and they're getting watered, so loads of weeds. This really needs attention. Well, everywhere does really. Everywhere needs attention. sticks, trash, soil, and this is my quote-unquote compost pile. Really, builders, really? That's where you want to dump the rubble? On my compost pile. Anyway, I need to turn this over. That's another job for another day. Coming around, my hazelnut trees are all completely bare. They had a hard prune last year. We didn't get any hazelnuts in the autumn, but they seem happy. Hopefully we'll get some next year. Nothing much going on here. We've got our grapevine growing at the back here. So that actually put on quite a bit of growth last spring, summer. These olives growing to kind of top them to try and keep them low. This bed, I have some camellias planted along here, and as little as they are, these will eventually become a big hedge. As little as they are now, they're quite happily blooming. Look how beautiful that is. Got some hollyhocks, and everything else is pretty much dead. That's chamomile. That is weeds and sticks. More camellias. This is a white one. We've got pink and white alternating. So when that's a big hedge across the fence, that'll be really nice to look out on from the kitchen. But this bed I'm going to extend and actually start enclosing some of the trees, like our little very, very unhappy mandarin tree. Oh dear, needs some attention. This hideous pile is still here. We kind of missed our window. We didn't get it done before the winter, and now the ground is so soggy and muddy and boggy we cannot get a big machine in here, so we're just gonna have to wait. Need to prune our apple trees desperately. That is the pear tree. Those of you who remember, we had a couple of big trees felled and it knocked over that pear tree and took it right down to maybe waist height, and it's put out all of this growth. But I've actually learned that you can bend them and tie a rock to them, and eventually they'll grow outwards. So I really need to get to it to start training before those branches get too hard, but I cannot reach it because it's in the middle of this big pile. Okay, coming around here, our oak tree's just bare. Everything's bare. The cork oak isn't. It just goes all brown like this, but it doesn't actually lose its leaves. This tree has my full admiration. The way it thrashes around in some of the storms we get and hasn't broken, it's amazing. Have I ever showed you the bark? It's like proper cork, like a cork board. It's pretty amazing. This is a pear tree. To our delight, we realized it was growing pears last year. Needs a good prune and shaping, but haven't had a chance because of the weather. And then around here we have what I think is a nectarine, which starts blossoming in the middle of July, which is kind of crazy but really pretty. A lot of the blossoms have blown off or they've finished blossoming. We'll see if we get any fruit. It's had a pruning, we shall see. This is our worm farm. That's doing pretty well. They seem happy, and it's starting to drop the worm castings. So that's going to go into my garden in the spring. This I want to do some planting in the summer, spring and summer. Over here is where I want to build a big deck going all the way so that we can come out the door and just straight onto the deck, which will be level with those steps there, because this is really nice and shaded in summer. It's a nice place to sit, but of course that's going to cost a lot of money, so we will see. This big old mirror I had in the shed, it's huge, and we're trying to think of where to put it. We thought somewhere in the garden, but you'll use a mirror in a garden to kind of create the illusion of more space, and we don't really need that, so I don't know. I kind of want to do some kind of hedging or something to create rooms in the garden, maybe a room in the corner there, like a little sun trap, wind blocked room. I don't know, we shall see. This garden is, that's just blown in. It's got huge clumps of pansies that are spreading nicely. Those are forget-me-nots. Those are also, and then the salicum has just bloomed the whole way through winter. more pansies and forget-me-nots and things. I might put a little shrub here. As you can see, the lawn is starting to get torn up because when we have Airbnb guests in the guest house, they park there, and so we turn in and park here so that Grant's not waking them with the garage door in the morning, because the garage is like right next to the guest house. But it's just been so rainy that the lawn's getting torn up. We are actually going to put in a concrete parking pad there for our guests, and then extend the bed so they can have like a path through, like extend that path. But we'll probably do that next year. So there you go, that is the end of winter garden tour. I'm so looking forward to spring and to start getting out and sorting things out and tidying things up and getting some seeds sown. It's actually a really nice sunny day today, so I might go out and work on those doors because that really needs to be done. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.